Today I want to speak to you about the activation of the so-called third eye in other systems. We call it Shang Dan Tian, which is located inside our head. Usually some people think that it is a superficial point. Actually, it is a point that it is located inside our head. It is a very important step in our process of personal, spiritual, if you like this word, growth. Because it really represents a moment that speeds up our growth as human beings. In the Nei Qi Gong system, we have certain practices that are dedicated to the activation of that point, which might sound a little bit like a theoretical thing, but actually it is a quite practical and powerful experience. For instance, we have the Nei Qi, which is the fourth seminar, where we activate this point doing specific things that allows us to enter in contact with more subtle energies. Again, this word energy, I'm not a big fan of it because it is overly used, but it is a practical experience that we can have in our body. We have different densities of energies. So we are talking in this case about things that are more subtle. But the reason why I wanted to film this video today, it's because up to now, when you browse on my website or you go on my YouTube channel or social media, you see all these Qi manifestations, Qi demonstrations, the Fagong or Fa Qi, the Qi emission, which represents one aspect that we can see, and they can be considered like a real proof that the system actually works. But there is another possibility related to, for me, a more interesting aspect of ourselves, that is a vertical growth towards more subtle aspects of ourselves. Activating the third eye or Shang Dan Tian, it is a life-changing experience in the sense that this point has various functions. I'm talking from my experience. If I will find out more, I will tell you. But for now, I can tell you that it is a point, it is a center that is used to gather and to enter in contact with this energy, but also to acquire and condense certain energies that will be stored in the Dantian, which is the lower Dantian, the tank that we have below the navel inside our body. But this center is also responsible for intuition or for the clarity of the mind. This is why when we start to enter in contact with this kind of energy, let me use this expression, we change in the sense that we truly have the opportunity of discovering something that it's beyond the mental and rational aspects. So we open up the human possibilities. A certain stage of the path, if we have worked correctly, and if the body is already starting to be transformed, so it's operating on a certain level energetically, the experiences that we might have, they might be compared to the ones having by saints in blissful and mystical states, where the whole body is resonating with something greater than ourselves. This is something we can say, but the experience is actually quite different than the words that we can pronounce. But for sure, it's also a possibility of when we hear that expression, we are one, that has lost its meaning due to the repetition, due to the fact that it is overused and lightly used in this Facebook post or whatever it is. We are kind of scratching the surface of the real thing. But when we start to grow in the direction, a possibility of experiencing that statement also on an energetic level becomes practical, because there are different paths that can allow us to go into that direction. Some of them can be more mental, some of them more physical, some of them more emotional, some of them more energetical, related to vital energy. But what we can do is also to experience that understanding, that state, so to speak, also on an energetic level, which is a quite blissful thing to do. I'm personally more interested into this aspect of this consequence of the path of Nei Qi Gong, because I truly think that I can open up possibilities related not just to this life and to our body and to our mind and to who we consider we are in this life, but things that are open to other dimension and possibilities. But for sure, first we need to build a solid base to avoid and to have the ability to discern between what is true and what is not true. But when we start to have this experience, so when the third eye or Shen Dan Tian is activated, we are not talking about subtle things. We are talking about something which is quite practical and which is quite clear that it's happening. Being able to connect with this level of existence, so to speak, of ourself, allows us to have insight, to have clarity in the mind, and to have a certain stability that allows us to grow as human beings. So while we might develop ourselves on various aspects, we can also understand, experience that there is something more than just ourselves as we considered up to now.